Yo,
Hey yo.
can you
How's it
hear me?
going?
You
Yeah, I
hear me
can
all
hear you.
right? Everything good?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, I can hear you just fine.
Okay, cool.
All right.
How's your evening going?
It's going all right. I'm a wee bit tired, but that's
Mm-hmm.
fine. Doesn't
Okay.
bother me.
Okay. Yeah,
Me.
I'll be writing some just notes up in Notepad as well.
Yeah, I will too.
So you don't have to bank on your tired memory remembering everything, which
Mm.
is very often a struggle. And also I'll be uploading the VOD just unlisted on my YouTube channel as well.
Okay, okay. That's good.
Yeah.
Mm.
Okay, and levels all look good here. Cool, cool, cool.
Go.
So I will probably just share my screen
Yeah.
and then yeah.
Wait, where are you gonna be keeping notes?
Oh, I will be keeping them in just Notepad.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah. I can
Because
also
if you,
open up a Google Doc as well.
yeah, we could do
Yeah,
that. Because
yeah. Okay, yeah. Actually, that sounds good.
all right. Because I was thinking if you were gonna do Obsidian, I was wondering how we could transfer
Hmm.
the notes. Like I'm not sure how.
Oh. Okay. I mean, yeah. Obsidian. I guess. Well, yeah, because it would just be a text file.
Yeah.
But it'd also be nice for like embedding images. I could
Yeah,
say.
exactly.
Yeah. I think Drive. Well, I like a Google Doc just because it would let both of us type at the same time.
Yeah, it's pretty simple. All
Yeah.
right.
Okay. So let me just open up a doc and I'll share it with you. So it's 10, 718. Cool. Okay. Copy link. Okay.
Let's see.
So before we get started, is there anything you want me to look out for in particular, or
Okay, let me think.
any thoughts about the games in general that you'd like me to know about?
Any thoughts? Okay, so I think although I didn't really see it in this set because Rabbit Alex didn't really seem to use missiles a whole ton. I'm not very sure how to handle transitioning between um countering missiles and going aggressive because it feels like I can't do both at the same time. I can't advance my zone while trying
Okay.
to tackle missiles. Like, I'm not sure if you can do that. I'm not sure if that's something you can
Mm-hmm.
do. Usually my answer is like if I see that they're spamming missiles very hard because EU Samuses love missile spam,
Mm-hmm.
they absolutely bombard you. What I
Mm-hmm.
usually do is I escape to platform, but obviously that doesn't allow me to play off offensive at all, and that's
Mm-hmm.
something you want to do in this matchup. So I'm not
Mm-hmm.
really sure how to deal with that.
Okay.
Uh, In this specific matchup, I guess I want to look out for because I didn't use down tilt a lot. Uh,
Okay.
my understanding of the matchup is like you just kind of want to run under them and just instantly down tilt them, and then you just establish space and keep them in the corner forever.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Do you know when you're looking for down tilt generally?
yes, when they're coming down off of a platform with missile.
Okay. So like, what about like a percent range? Like, do you know when like down tilt will combo into up air, or like a fair?
That I don't know, but I haven't really had to think about it because generally the players I play versus aren't good enough to instantly act out of down tilt even if it doesn't knock down.
Okay.
Because I assume the up tilt range starts as soon as down tilt knocks down, right? Because you don't want them to be able to hit you.
Uh-huh. Well, so off down tilt, you're looking more for like against a floaty, especially. You're looking for it more as like a tool to kill confirm off of.
Hmm.
Um, And the low percent using moves for the knockdown, just in general, is a big Sheik no-no.
Yeah,
It's
it's true.
definitely something where you have to learn the rules in order to break the rules with regards to using moves before they knock down.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, like it's against Sam especially because she dies off the top pretty early, and you're looking at like also off the sides too.
Mm.
Down tilt to up air and down tilt to fair are both really good, and on Fountain, I my best guess for when that like down tilt to up air, for example, to kill off the top would come online and be like 110 ish before
Yeah,
the
that's what I
down
was
tilt.
thinking as well. Yeah.
And then down tilt to fair, like if Samus is, I'll just share screen. Oh wait,
Mm.
am I sharing? I'm sharing Chrome. Okay, yeah, yeah. I'm just not sharing my screen. There we go. Okay. So, yes, like in this spot, right, when Samus is like in the corner, especially in a stage with small horizontal blast zones like FOD, down tilt to fair could kill as early as like the 90s.
Damn.
Yeah, because the blast zones are actually pretty small on the sides, and they're also just like FOD blast zones being higher, significantly higher than battlefield blast zones is just a myth. They're actually just a tiny bit
Yeah, they're
higher.
the same. Or okay.
Yeah, they're a
I didn't know that. I
tiny
thought they
bit
were
higher. It's like a
okay.
difference of like a few percent at most.
Okay, okay.
It's just the camera starts lower, so it seems higher.
Yeah, and also compared to like the side blast zones, it does give the impression that it's quite high.
Mm-hmm.
So
But
people compare to that. Oh,
but yeah. So
one.
because of the horizontal blast zones are so small, then fair is going to kill Samus pretty early.
Mm,
It's one of the reasons why this stage is can be so good against like just most characters is because she loves killing. She loves it
with
when her
fair.
fair just
Yeah.
kills like before 100. That's very
Yeah.
nice. It makes things a lot easier and also harder for your opponent.
Mm.
Okay, but so it's like transitioning between countering missiles and going aggressive, using down tilt more, and
There
I'll
is
just
one thing
act
I
like
thought of.
as kill confirm.
Yeah. And then the other thing that I thought of, I think this is the one thing that actually I found to be a little problematic. I have no idea how to catch Samuses when they're recovering. It's impossible.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Cause like the down tilt thing was more like I didn't feel like I had to use it in the set because they just weren't really using missiles a lot, so I didn't feel like I had to like run under them and crouch and catch them with down tilt at all. I was just
Mm-hmm.
playing the game normally. But edge guarding was an actual problem that
Mm.
concerned me.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Because yeah, she catch guard Samus pretty well. But it's also one of the things that carries over very well between matchups
Mm,
because the idea is really just, especially just generally wherever she is recovering, right? The idea is to pressure her recovery with your needles and the threat of going out there.
yeah.
And then just basically I just describe it as making her play bullet hell because that's basically what it is.
Mm,
Because if you needle her when she's below stage out of a bomb jump, a lot of the time she just doesn't make it back.
yeah.
Or she just has to be close enough where she can still grapple, after getting hit out of her bomb jump.
Mm,
Um, and the same thing applies, like Puff especially it applies to, where needling her out of her jumps when she's below stage is really good.
really good. Yeah, yeah.
But against basically every character, needling them out of their jump when they're below stage is really good. And Samus is just kind of like the character where it applies the most, where that whole idea of like controlling the area, controlling that offstage area of the screen, and controlling it based on just kind of putting needles in place of her like common recovery paths, right?
Yeah,
That's where it
exactly.
comes
Like
up the most.
you wanna scare her away from the stage and try to drain her resources because that's the thing that troubles me the most with this matchup is just this stupid amount of resources she has to recover. Because like I know you want to use needles to try to force her back, catch her when she's under the stage, maybe try to force her to burn her Zaire.
Mm-hmm.
stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really troubling because it's really hard. I also find that I struggle with Marth a lot as
Mm-hmm.
well in this specific scenario where it's like I really suck at um predicting when they're going to recover when they're under their stage. Like, are they going to go for another stall? Or are they going to do a jump wait? Or are they going to do a jump instant up B? Going to do a jump grapple in this case? With Marth, it's just going to be up B, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I really struggle with that. And I think you'll notice a decent amount where I'm just waiting for the Samus to Zair, and then I end
Mm-hmm.
up just dropping the edge guard because I'm just like, I don't know what to
Mm-hmm.
do.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So like, basically, just yeah, like the idea essentially is to just hit her out of her recovery. Generally kneel her out of her recovery before she gets to grapple range.
Okay.
And then also a big thing that's gonna be really important. I'm gonna be looking out for is grab like doing stuff like grabbing ledge quickly in general, especially
Hmm.
stuff like if you're like doing that like whole bullet hell stuff and you're like throwing needles, something like aerial needle, like landing with a needle that goes like off stage right diagonally, and then
Hmm.
immediately grabbing a ledge quickly is going to be really important because something
That
that Samus can do and also like Marth can do is they can upbeat early, but if you're tight in execution, then you can get the needle out and grab ledge before
mm,
they upbeat a ledge, and
yeah.
then you just have you just have your flow chart.
Yeah.
And then
Um,
also, go ahead.
yeah. No, no, go on.
Okay. Then also something else I want to say. There's another like matchup thing. Also, something I'm gonna be looking out for is that when it comes to missiles, so there are a few things happening in this matchup with missiles. One of the big ones is that you can clank with them with any tilt.
Yeah, and
Uh,
jab, I've
yeah,
found
and
as
jab.
well.
Yep. So and you're actionable very quickly because there's just a clank.
Mm,
So that's something that's really nice to get good at. Is just like like jabbing or like F tilting a missile, and then just moving out of it really quickly.
okay.
And then also your needles cancel the missiles out. Um, but I personally I favor more the tilting missiles and like closing space as opposed to sitting on their side of the stage and kneeling.
Mm,
Just because this is a matchup where I think it's the worst for Samus. When SHEIK is like at that range, like when SHEIK wants to be at boost grab range in this matchup.
yeah, of course.
The dream for SHEIK is like we're in neutral, maybe Samus is like right here, right,
Yeah.
and she's like right here, and Samus has to do something about boost grab. If
Yeah.
Samus does nothing, she gets boost grabbed, and she has to do something, and that's like the crux of the matchup a lot of the times. Like just by you staying in position, Samus has to do something, and you don't. You really don't.
Yeah, I know. It's an enormous game of chicken essentially,
Mm-hmm.
where
Yeah.
you could just like do one boost grab and then they start shitting themselves and then you could just do like
Mm-hmm.
a dash wave dash back and they just down smash out of fear
Mm-hmm.
and you just boost grab then and
Mm-hmm.
it works really well.
Yeah, that's gonna be a big thing I look out for. Because
Mm,
again, it's like that's also a big thing that carries over across all matchups or well, all matchups really. Because every character doesn't want to be boost grabbed,
yeah.
and it is an unreactable option if you're space close enough.
Yeah.
Um, like even like Puff. Puff doesn't want to be boost grabbed. She's gonna do something preemptive a lot of the time. Like she's gonna maybe crouch and then open herself up to other stuff. She's gonna maybe like up tilt and then open herself up to other stuff.
Mm,
Like ices don't want to be grabbed. They're gonna do something to prevent it from happening. Because if you if you grab a climber and the other climber can't help, then you can kill the climber or
yeah.
at least build damage, and then separating them gets a lot easier. So that whole idea of positioning yourself at boost grab range, unreactable boost grab range, and just putting the fear of God in the other character is going to be really important. It's just
Mm,
especially in a matchup like this where Samus both has a bad time when you down throw her, and then also has a bad time when you just jump at her. Because that's something that's going on where.
That's what I opt to do instead. I like to back air a lot, just keep them in the
Mm-hmm.
corner, and they just can't do anything about it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then fair's gonna be really good too.
Mm.
Because you know about the how like Samus has to essentially read whether you're gonna do auto cancel fair or L cancel fair in order
That's the
to like
thing.
CC
Okay.
down smash you.
Okay, that's the thing. I
Yeah,
didn't know that.
because the
That's really
timing
important.
is slightly different on the CC down smash for Samus, but it's different enough that if she, because essentially one of them hits earlier, right? So if Samus CC down smashes with the timing that would down smash the earlier one, and then you do this the later one, then she's not gonna be able to get down smash out in time because it is very tight. And
Okay.
then same for if you do the earlier one when she's expecting the later one, then she's not gonna be able to get down smash out in time. And then also from that same spot, you have like landing with needles, you have double jump out, you have tomahawk grab. There are a lot
Mm.
of like really nasty mix-ups that you can play with Samus there. And then also,
Wow.
if she's shielding, you're fine because
You don't
you're
care.
like
Yeah,
fair
that's
and
I've
bear
noticed
just
that.
outrange fair bear needles outrange up B fine, and if you get up B and you're ready for it, you can also convert that pretty easily.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I'm just gonna add that in, just like short hop mix-ups, short hop slash sort of move grab slash.
This matchup really puts on display all of Sheik's like most bread and butter options, huh?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Like
because
why
like
timing mix-ups are good,
mm-hmm.
why yeah, okay. That makes a lot of
Yeah,
sense actually.
this is this like and I think Peach too. Like
Yeah.
it's just Samus and Peach are both also similar in that they really don't like this whole thing because Peach just can't CC down smash your spaced aerials
No.
because her down smash is
Absolutely
too
not.
short. So but she has more tools. She's Peach compared to Samus.
Yeah, she can like nair out a shield, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
Be very
Yeah, but
fast
it's
about it.
still a rough time for her, and you can still be safe from like Nair. At the end of the day, if she wants to convert off of that, she still has to read you. Same for
Yeah.
Samus.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I'm just gonna add a game one here, and yeah, I'm just gonna watch probably like the first couple stocks of this. I'm not really
Mm.
stopping. If there's
All right.
something really notable, I'll stop. But I'm probably just gonna let it rock for a couple minutes
All right,
just
that's
to see
good.
what's going on.
Mhm.
Nice.
I've played a lot with a lot of decent Samuses in Europe. I'm fairly aware of the down smash bullshit.
Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly what I'm talking about. Like I have when they're there, I have no idea what to do.
Okay. I'm just gonna wait until the next stock is taken. Yeah, there it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, like 110ish.
Yeah. That's really good. Yeah. Wow.
Okay. Okay. So just real quick, I'm gonna let it rock for a little bit longer. I just want to ask, just ask kind of a. You don't have to answer.
Mhm.
Just think about it. Have you noticed so far in this game how when you have like Samus in the corner, especially, or like when you have Samus like an advantage, especially in the corner,
Mhm.
how you've been like overextending instead of kind of like playing for like holding your advantage, like and holding the corner and kind of just letting her put herself in a checkmate position.
No, and that's something my previous coach also told me that I do quite a bit.
Okay. Because I noticed there's been a couple spots so far where you've had Samus in the corner, she's been a really bad spot, and then you essentially like gamble on a boost grab, and then get like down smashed or reversal for your troubles.
Mm.
Um, so just like especially because this is going to be a corner position, just like look out for that.
So what should I replace that with? And like instead of just going for an instant boost grab, should I?
So we'll talk about that.
Okay, okay.
Okay, yeah. So there are
That was
okay,
just
yeah.
a
So
bad.
there are like a few things in particular that I was noticing.
Mm.
Um, the first thing was that when you're back airing Samus, a lot of the time, either through some combination of your initial spacing on the short hop
Mm.
and your drift, you're getting weak back air a lot. I don't think you haven't been getting many strong back airs against Samus,
Yeah.
which is letting her another thing, letting her kind of reversal you from your advantage spots because you get soft back air and then she's at advantage because she's holding down, right?
Yeah.
Whereas if you're getting strong back air, then she has to hold that. And that's like a melee fundamental that can be kind of hard to learn, especially when it's like a minute difference in drift, and you're also not really, I think SHEIK players can sometimes fall in the trap of not really thinking about drift that much because the kind of expectation is, oh, like, well, SHEIK doesn't have good drift, so I shouldn't bother in the first place. Um, which is like like hyperbole, but at the same time, like it's easy to underestimate how much you can do with SHEIK's aerial drift. Like in a lot of those spots, like just a little, just more aware usage of your drift would have been the difference between sweet spot backer and soft backer. So I'll point those
Mm.
spots out. And then also like that corner spot, that was a big one. I'm also gonna look for those, and then also the edge guarding spots, of course.
Yeah, yeah.
But so yeah, it's like getting weak bear instead of strong bear, letting Samus versal you. Gonna put some exclamation points here because it's really important.
Yeah.
From your advantaged spots. And then also, not pressuring Samus's recovery too well. Although I did see you, it looks like you know, like I saw you snipe her with the needle in
Yeah.
that one spot you had her off stage. It just looked like after you sniped her with the needle, it kind of seemed like you thought just your work there was done, as opposed to continuing to snipe her in pressure recovery. Because essentially what
Uh,
happened there is you sniped her once, and then one more snipe would seal the deal.
okay.
And in that kind of spot, we'll talk about that because that's really
Yeah.
important. And then also, so getting reversaled when you have Samus in the corner, often boost grabbing, approaching into her defense, like slash wall. I guess like it's like wall defense slash walling moves, and also like there were some shots where you just like dash back out of the corner.
Yeah.
Um, which I think the instinct is to call it like a random or like scrubby dash attack. But I think I noticed it was like it was late. Enough time had passed in the game where I think the Samus had just picked up on you liking to run at her when she was in the corner.
Yeah.
And like the risk reward of dash attack out of the corner changes a lot when your opponent is very likely to just run at you.
Yeah.
Because you also
Okay.
weren't doing any like shield stops, you weren't doing any of that like baiting stuff. You weren't like short hopping in those spots where you don't care about you just hit her out of her dash attack. Um,
Mm. So when I short hop, okay, so first of all, what kind of spacing am I looking to short hop at? Am I looking to short hop at a spacing where I catch an approach, or am I looking to short hop
So
at her shield?
it depends.
Okay.
Um, because I think, yeah, it depends on the context.
Right.
Because a lot of the short hops, a lot in some, like especially in disadvantaged spots, the short hops are at their strongest when you short hop from a spacing that also threatens boost grab, right?
Hmm.
So something like dash forward to boost grab range and then short hop um, lets you, like if Samus sees you dashing forward for boost grab and wants to like dash attack or wave dash forward tilt or wave dash forward smash, that lets you beat that. And then also if Samus just like does something like down smash in place, tilt in place, what have you, then it lets you also pressure off of that. But then at
Okay.
the same time, like if you're in disadvantage, um, then you're just not going to have as much room to approach forward because you don't have the advantage to work with, right? Because you have to, because like kind of when you have that advantage, like when Sam is in the corner, or just like when you have frame advantage in general, then it gives you more time to like get closer to her, if that makes sense.
Hmm.
Because like she's just in a position where she can't do anything about you taking that additional space.
Right.
Whereas if you encroach on her and you spend time taking that additional space, but when you're in disadvantage, then she has time to do something about it, or she has the position to do something about it.
Okay. Um. So let me think. I
Yeah.
I guess this is also like another situational thing. I was gonna ask like, so when I do the short hop boost grab range, obviously that sets up a reaction point.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but it's quite a it initially feels like a powerful reaction point, but the power or the versatility of the reaction point quite quickly drops off because so you do the short hop. Depending on the drift, obviously one's more aggressive, one could be more defensive. You can do like backflip, short hop, and then land in place, and that creates
Mm-hmm.
a safer reaction point.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do like drift forward and then you do an empty land, you can do something like an F tilt, but it puts you at quite a risky
Mm-hmm.
position.
Yeah.
Um,
So we'll talk about that. Um, Especially because like the like again, if you're thinking about um just like how much time and advantage you have to work with, if
mm,
you're approaching into Samus's position, right? Like if she's in the corner, for example, and you short hop forward at her, then by the time you land, she'll have gotten the time. Like essentially a lot of those spots, like when you land into that spot, moving into her, because she doesn't have to move to meet you or anything. She doesn't have to she doesn't have to move right to create a good
hmm
position because you're just landing right next to her. It means you're kind of limiting yourself in what you can do out of that landing.
Yeah, because then you have to read it, right? Because you place
Mm-hmm.
yourself in a pretty bad. Because like if you do backflip and then land, you're safe enough to
Mm-hmm. But then, so
um.
also another option in those spots, and that spot specifically, is something like wave lane back. That's also
Oh
really
right,
good.
yeah, right, right,
Mm-hmm.
right. I didn't think of that because like
And you can
my mind was
also,
set on. Okay.
and then also like if Sam's like right here in the corner or something,
Mm,
or just like if you have that advantage spot where you can like short hop at her safely,
yeah.
which doesn't even have to be that advantage, could basically just be neutral, right?
Mm,
Because Samus just has a hard time anti-airing you on the reaction, just as a general rule.
okay.
But like in those spots, right? Like for example, if Samus is in the center stage and you're short hopping at her, just like kind of assume that my mouse cursor is like SHEIK. Samus is like at the fountain. And if you're
Mm-hmm.
short hopping at her, then you have a point right here where both fairs are on the table. Um, Needle is on the table. The fast fall wave lane back is on the table. Fast fall into shield. Fast fall into tomahawk grab. And then also stuff like you can just
Double
double
jump.
jump out, and
Yeah.
then now you have a needle angle.
Yeah,
Or you
exactly.
can
That's what I
double
was
jump
thinking.
out to top plat, and now you have her in another needle angle, and you can like run off
Mm,
needle. Um,
okay.
and essentially, just like the one of the reasons why that short hop is so powerful is because all of those options are really good in terms of getting you to your like win conditions, right?
Hmm.
Um, and Samus struggles to deal with all of them.
Right.
Like because she's like slow, she commits to her jumps, and then also just like her toolkit isn't that good for those anti-air spots. Which
Mm,
means that she has a really hard time dealing with you having that many options in that spot. And then also at any point you can also just boost grab, or you can also just when you get to that boot, like you can boost grab. When you get to that boost grab range, you can just like wave dash down, you can wave dash back. You can like wave dash back and charge needles. You can like instead of going for the short hop or the boost grab or grounded stuff, you can just full. You can just like full hop and like platform needle.
mm,
Um, Essentially, it's like a lot. It's a lot like Sheik Fox for us, where it's just Fox has that like nair range, like that short hop burial range, where there are so many different options on the table for us to cover defensively that it can get really hard.
mm.
You know, if he's able to set those spots up and make you play his game.
Right.
And for him, it's pretty simple just because he has so many good options in that spot.
Okay.
Where something very similar is happening for this matchup.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, so like right there, that was those like weak backers and stuff. And this is also an example of like how getting hit by up B is not really that bad for you.
Yeah.
Um, and then I really like the awareness of down smash there.
Yeah.
Um,
But that was
but yeah, so was this supposed to be a fair?
what was
This right here.
play the clip and I'll tell you because I'm not
Okay.
exactly sure.
Yeah, so you
Because
get
I have
bear, dash dance
yeah.
around the down smash, and then boost grab.
And then what did I do? F tilt?
Yeah,
Yeah, it was absolutely supposed to be. So I have very low confidence in my gameplay right now because my controller busted. Haha.
that's rough.
Yeah, so a big reason why I didn't do because previously when I played versus Samus's, I really liked grabbing ledge and letting go of it and then doing turnaround charge needles, land on stage, and then decide if I'm gonna release the needles or like release the needles before I land on stage, re-grab ledge, or just, all that sort of sequence.
Hmm.
And I didn't do it a lot here because I have been getting a lot of instant fares from ledge or just a lot of fast fall drop to my death.
So like snapback issue, do you think?
So I dropped my controller. Um,
Yeah, that'll do it.
yeah, and I dropped my controller on the marble floor, may I add, and it bounced around like crazy. And now whenever I press Y for some reason, I randomly get C stick inputs.
That's fun. Okay.
It's fucking terrible. I don't know because like
How
I'm also
much work do you think it would be for you to relearn with X?
um too much because I'm a permanent claw player.
You mean you can claw with X? I
You
must
can,
be
but it is.
weird. Okay.
Ugh.
Okay. Yeah. I would.
Um,
Okay. Well, but in those spots, I would. I guess my recommendation would just be see if there's a way to make X jumping in those spots work, or even just tap jumping. Um, because like if
mm,
you had fared here, it would
it
have
would have been
created
huge.
such a good position.
Yeah, I'm aware. I know,
Cause
because I'd knock her
yeah,
onto platform. I could F tilt her. I could shark
or
her.
like if she
So much
doesn't go
stuff.
on the plat, then you can also like she can DI into the F tilt if she's not ready for the fair. You can
Yeah.
just get a crazy mix up on her because you have so much advantage from the fair.
Yeah,
But
I
yeah,
know.
so
It's
just like so experiment with X and tap jump to see if there are spots where it'd be feasible to use one of those instead of Y.
mm, I'll
Because
try
I'm
it
sure that
out
was also
actually.
happening with the edge guard situation.
Absolutely. you'll notice like in the last game, if we get to that last stock, I try to recover, I jump and I instant down air. Like I'm off stage,
Hmm.
I'm trying to like jump recover and I just instant down air. I'm like, okay, cool, it's GG's then.
Hmm. And then also, so again, another thing happening here is like this is actually an example of what was of the this. This is an example in a different position of you getting reversal when you have advantage.
Mm,
Because, Samus goes top plat after the F tilt, right? And then you have this spot where realistically, what is Samus going to do from top plat that actually threatens you?
nothing.
Yeah.
There is not a single unreactable thing Samus can do that can threaten me. Like the
Mm-hmm.
best she can hope for is like maybe set up. So, because like I dash, she hasn't moved from her position, so I dash to try and shark her. What she can do is try to go to the side plat and set up a missile position. That's the best she can hope for, I think.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Um, or at least that's how like if in Samus's position, that's what I would be thinking. It would be like, okay, this guy just dashed to try and cover me, so let's just go to side plat and reset the situation to neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Um, another thing that like a really bad Samus would do is drop through and dare, but I think that's just like that's straight up reactable, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Like I'm pretty sure it is. So, what else could she do? Maybe she could play a mix up. So like she does like she'll drop through and then waveland back on plat instantly, and maybe I'd bite. Um,
Options available.
I guess it's really important to ask.
This upper. Yeah, so that's what I want to ask you next is so with all of that in mind,
Mhm.
do you think this up air really makes sense in terms of like risk reward?
I'm pretty so no. I should
Yeah.
probably be trying to bait something instead. So
Mm-hmm.
like empty
Yeah.
hopping and then wave landing on plat or empty hopping and just
Mm-hmm.
dropping back down to center stage.
Mm-hmm. Well, yeah. So not well. You can also do aerial stuff here, but like if you think about just the up air itself and how hard you're committing to it, and the reward you get from up airing Samus at 26,
Mm-hmm.
when you're up airing right from like this position,
Which is
right?
not
This
even
is the
covering
upper you're
anything.
going for. It's gonna be hard to follow up on this.
Mm.
Like if you get this, if you land this upper, there's a very real chance that it just resets neutral.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so with that in mind, like something like just like setting up like a back air or something, like can you see how like a rising like drift away back air
That's what I wanted
would
to
like
say.
also threaten Samus, and then also like be pretty much the same reward, right?
Yeah.
And then also like as far as the hit itself, it'd be pretty similar reward, and it'll also as far as the situation after it, let you hold that advantage much more easily, and it's also just much bigger.
Yeah.
But instead, the up air here basically is just same thing that's happening in those corner spots where you have a lot of advantage, right? You have Samus in a really bad position where the onus should be on her to do the work to make it back to neutral, to get out of the bad position. And instead, you kind of just do a lot of her work for her. Because she just, like, look at what happens here. Like, she just,
Shits
you,
herself and just drops through.
yeah, like, look at this position, right? You have Samus, you're in center, Samus on top plat. And then after the up air, we have this position now. Samus in the center, you're on plat.
Mm-hmm.
Where basically you just essentially just Samus was able to regain center stage for free.
What I don't know, this is like absolute Johns potentially, but like, because that seems like such an obvious back air position. I wonder if the up air was intentional or
Hmm.
if my controller just, decided to not
Um,
function.
I
Because it
guess
just
like
seems like such an obvious back air position.
mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, but
we'll
even
just
then, still like even then, it's like not like the backer would be an amazing option. It would just be better than the up air, right?
yeah. So what would
Um,
what would you do ideally then? Just hold center and react to what she does?
yeah, it's like here, I wouldn't even, I would just not wave dash. Like after missed F tilt, because she has to jump away here to not get F tilted.
Hmm.
so she can't threaten you, right?
Yeah.
So there's no need to wave dash back. You just hold position.
Hmm.
And then at that point, this early in the set, I'm probably just charging needles to see what they do.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
And it would change a lot just depending on like there's like a Portland Samus that I've like played a lot. So, um, if it's this early into game one, I would have that previous experience and previous information, which
Hmm.
would change the way I play it. But even then, like he's a very like standard kind of more conservative Samus would probably still just default to charging needles here, especially because like
Right.
Samus at 26, right? So it's not like you're gonna be able to really get a ton of reward off reading, like gambling here anyways.
Hmm.
And the reward you get from just charging needles and getting a stack is gonna be so nice. Because like having a stack in this matchup lets you needle grab Samus a lot more easily. Like it makes those short
Hmm.
hop positions a lot scarier for her because then you can needle from higher up in your jump and combo into grab. It lets you go through, if she shoots a missile or like a charge shot, it lets you just still needle her because each missile, I believe, eats one needle. I think that like each missile cancels out one needle. I might not
I
be
think so.
entirely
Yeah.
correct on that,
It's
but then
either one or
also,
two. It's not more.
yeah. But so but yeah. So basically, it creates spots where like you get the needles are like guaranteed damage essentially, right?
Yeah.
They're at least guaranteed chip damage, or you use the threat of them to make Samus, kind of, make Samus put herself in a bad position because she doesn't get needled. Or it's like a tool where you just get a combo, you get to combo into grab.
Hmm.
So something like that needle, right? Like just charging needles here would be a good example of a way where you can hold this advantage you have. You can hold your position. You can keep Samus in her bad position because you can react as a needle charge too. Because you can like light press, cancel into just
Hmm.
about anything and still have time to react to whatever she's doing. Or you can just charge a few and then cancel and then go back to moving and then just see what she's doing. You can like
Hmm.
needle charge, cancel, and then also go for the same gamble.
Yeah.
And then but basically you hold your advantage. You build up more because you're charging needles, and you also
Okay.
still, you're still, but that's, two big things, right? You're
Mm.
holding your advantage in a way that's going to get you more openings in the future.
Mm. Okay.
Where, like, that's the same idea. That's just, like, the core fundamental of fighting games. It's just if you have your opponent in a bad spot, it's their job to get out.
Yeah.
That's their
Yeah.
job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Your
Yeah.
job is
Right.
to just keep them there.
Okay.
So when you do stuff like this, even like even if this is a backer, you'd still be opening yourself up to the chance of just letting Samus get out of the bad spot for free.
Yeah.
And the same
Okay.
exact thing is happening in the corner spots where it is Samus's job. It is Samus's job to do something. It's her responsibility.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
So hold your advantage. It's Samus's job to get out of the bad spot. And just a general rule of fighting games and melee is that the longer she's in the bad position / disadvantage, the more likely it is that she's going to get hit.
Yeah. Of
Because,
course.
she has to, in a lot of spots, the person at disadvantage is going to have to make some kind of gamble
Yeah.
to get out because they're playing, it's like just weighted RPS where it's weighted against them, right?
Yeah.
Which means that they're going to have, just inherently because of the way it works, they're going to have to gamble to some extent.
Mm.
And they're in disadvantage, because you have an advantage, it means that you can much more easily play it in a way where you just cover more of their options. You cover like a higher percentage of their options compared to normal.
Yeah.
So just if you think about it, if you just think about like the math of it, like the expected value of it, like over time, it's just like it's it's just a really good spot for you to be in, right? Can you kind of like
Yeah.
see how that like works, just in like kind of like a game theory level, where if your expected value in a situation is really good, the longer you stay in that situation, the more value you'll get.
Yeah.
Okay.
Not to mention that there's potential for them to create a reaction point for you that's really advantageous, and then you just don't even have to play a gamble at all.
Yeah, like sometimes sometimes like because like really you don't have to gamble. You really don't.
Yeah.
But then like sometimes, especially for a character like Samus, where all that stuff like with boost grab and the short hop mix-ups, and she having to like basically choose between one of them to cover, like to favor.
Mm.
It means that if she's like in the corner as well and she like can't wave dash back to avoid your boost grab, it gets so much worse for her. Because then it means that something like, she's really scared justly of being boost grabbed or just jumped in on. So she like puts out a preemptive down smash or like an up tilt or a dash attack. Means that a lot of those spots, as long as you're keeping that threat on the table, your threat,
Mm.
that's the whole reason she's in the bad spot, the whole reason she wants to get out. But a lot of the time, you'll be the one that doesn't have to work for it because you'll just be getting it for getting an opening for free because like she gambles with like a in place hitbox like a down smash or something and just whiff punish it.
Yeah. Okay.
But yeah, so like right here, this is an example of that drift.
I really do wonder if it. I think the solution is. I don't know if the drift is the problem so much as the time that I decide to do the bear.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, no. That is. Is that drift? Because that was a relatively low bear. Maybe that is like a drift problem.
Yeah, you're drifting in. See that?
Yeah,
So
that's a
like
drift problem.
yeah, look at this drift. Cause
Because there
so
was.
you start here, right?
Yeah.
This like right here, kind of right where this effect is, right here.
Mm.
That's just about space bear range, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So you get there, and then you keep drifting forward, and then you go to in place drift when you're doing your fast fall.
Yeah.
So like if you had just corrected your drift a little bit earlier, then this would be a sweet spot backer, and you wouldn't be getting down smash for it.
Right.
It's also a move choice thing because in this spot,
I could just drop F tilt maybe.
oh, you can also needle here, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's a
Yeah.
good point.
Also,
Fuck.
do you see how if you had charged those needles up when she was on top
Yeah.
plat, it would be a lot easier for you? Because then you
Yeah.
don't have to be precise with when you release the needle. You can just let them rip here and you'll get it, like, roughly here and you'll get a grab.
Yeah.
That's like that is a very real example of how that kind of situation works, right?
Mm.
Where because you didn't choose that like low risk equivalent reward option, right, in that situation at 9 seconds, like it made this situation harder for you.
Yeah.
Because if you had built those needles up, then like, oh yeah, this is just free needle grab.
Yeah.
And then
Okay.
you can also like fair is on the option here, right? Or is on the table here.
So
Like,
needle turnaround fair?
or you just or you jump at her facing towards her.
Oh yeah. Yeah, so it's way more
Yeah,
simple, right?
Tomahawk grab is also on the table because she was going to be in leg for a while.
So when did I start fast falling? Hold on.
So you start fast falling right about here.
Oh,
And even if
okay,
you,
yeah.
so you fast fall a little bit late, but even then you still had time to tomahawk grab here.
Yeah.
But again, like the bear would have been fine, right? There are better things to be doing. Like I think Needle is, especially because you knew this was happening, right? You had seen her whiff grab.
Mm-hmm.
Needle was probably going to be the best one. But like if the drift on this back air is better, then this is a spaced back air, and you have center, and Samus is pushed further to the corner, and you get a mix up off of it.
Yeah.
Because something else that's happening. One of the one of the big reasons why those short hop mix-ups are so good is because if this backer is strong, Samus is probably going to get knocked, launched up a little bit, right? Because that's kind of how strong backer works when it's not CC'd. Launches up a little bit. And, like, you can just think of, I'm sure you, like, that's a really good spot for SHEIK, right? Just having your opponent disadvantaged like that.
Yeah.
And then, you'd certainly have a really good spot. But yeah, like, the drift, as far as what you could have done differently using the same tool, right? Using the backer still, the drift would be the big one.
Okay.
Especially because, you had time, right? You see Samus whiff right here. So when you're lining this up, you should just be, kind of like lining up the backer. And also something that's really good to do for this exact thing is just exercise hitting eggs with strong bear.
Yeah,
especially
that's something I used to do.
Using drift, like using your drift to kind of finely place your bear hitbox. And also starting with like no fast fall because that's much easier.
Yeah.
Like hitting an egg with strong bear with fast fall is just hard. It's just hard.
Yeah. Yeah.
But that's that's like an end goal thing where like ideally you can do that too. But just exercise drill. It's like exercise drill hitting eggs with bear. I'm just gonna say various bears. So like short hop, full hop, waveland, like shield drop, etc.
Right.
Because you want to be able to hit that bear out of a basically any given situation where you're airborne. You want to be able to hit that bear.
Right. Okay.
And it also, like you could even do the same thing you do here, right? You could like just if there's there's an egg in place, just do this exact same thing. Just do this exact same bear. Like from same spacing, right? Like set it up so that you're like right here, this spacing. You're like maybe one SHEIK away from boost grab range. And then just full hop backwards and hit an egg with a bear. Like hit an egg like with this spacing, with a full hop backwards into a strong bear. Which would be, like a very real way to like apply that to an actual game.
Right.
Because that is a real situation in a real game where if you would hit that strong bear,
it would have been
it was a stationary target, just like an egg. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
I like needle turnaround.
Yeah, I wanted to be able to threaten fair. So.
Okay. So this right here, this is an example of SHEIK being in disadvantage. Not not at this point, right? Because Samus just have to move. This just didn't pay off. This is just like a weird like fucky wucky like melee thing where it was just like a few frames of difference.
Yeah, like
right?
Samus was
just
like
a little bit faster than you grab her here. It's fine.
Yeah, okay.
It's not. It's like the decision was fine. Like this was. The decision was fine. Just like the particulars of the situation made it not work out.
Yeah. Okay.
Like the result wasn't good, but the process was good. If that makes sense.
Okay. Okay, that's good.
Because like you can like look at this grab, if Slippy cooperates. And you can see like okay, so Samus is missing Dare. And you see like right here, like you just started your grab too late.
That sucks.
But like like the grab itself, like the idea to go for grab there was fine. That was really good. Like the idea was good, just the particulars ended up making it not pay off.
Right.
But so this right here, right? This is an example of how even when SHEIK is in disadvantage, Samus is still fucking terrified.
Yeah.
Because like, look at look at how she plays this after you whiff this grab.
Yeah, she
Right?
wave dashes back. She's terrified.
Like, look, this is boost grab range.
Yeah.
She is
This is
still in danger.
disadvantage.
Um, because like even you're in disadvantage, right? It's just that
Hmm.
the threat of boost grab is so powerful that she still has to respect it. It's again, it's just like Sheik Fox, right? Where if you
Yeah.
imagine that you're Sheik here and Fox just whiffed a move and you're at this spacing, you're still pretty. You still got to
You're
respect the
still
aerial.
terrified, yeah.
You still got to
Yeah.
respect him approaching you out of that spot
Right.
because it's unreactable.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
Sam's is right here, which is unreactable boost grab range. So you could be starting a boost grab right now, and if she stays here, if she doesn't do anything to avoid it, she's getting boost grabbed.
Hmm. Okay.
So, she's like doing stuff to try and like bait it out. She's trying to bait you into committing. She's still trying to bait you out. Maybe like trying to bait out like a wave dash F tilt or something.
Yeah.
And
I think if I
then
just F tilted there, that would have been
mm,
all right.
mm-hmm.
Because it would have been right at the very tip of the F tilt. It would have been like relatively safe.
Mm-hmm.
Even if she shielded right after the jab, it would have been like pretty all right.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm gonna
I wonder if the jab was actually meant to be an F tilt and they just fucked it up. That's possible.
maybe, but also again the F tilt this Samus at 40, F tilt isn't gonna Samus at 46 rather. F tilt's not really gonna lead to much.
Right.
There are better things to be doing.
Okay.
But also something else to note here is look at how like ground heavy Samus is playing. Like look at how much she's favoring covering the ground with approaches.
I could just jump out of shield and fair her or something
Mm-hmm.
then.
Yeah,
Okay.
because
Okay, that makes sense.
look at this position right here, right? Look at where she's playing this.
Yeah, it's like full drift forward.
Do
Like,
you see the the angle here?
oh, I'm dumb. Oh, so I could just like jump backwards and then needle turn around,
Mm-hmm.
maybe. Okay,
No,
that makes a
no,
lot
just
more sense.
needle. You can just jump,
Oh yeah, right,
like
right, right, right.
backflip, and then just needle her.
Yeah. I was
Because
thinking of
like
like dash
again,
back.
Samus is slow, right?
Mm-hmm.
And this is a very real example of how that whole it being hard for Samus to anti-arm reaction like applies to the game. Because
Okay.
if you jump here, if you full hop backflip, drift away, and then if you full hop backflip, drift away, right?
Mm-hmm.
She can't really cover that. Like, what's she gonna do about that? What's
Like
she gonna do
running
about
there,
that? That does
maybe.
not get blown up by you just staying in shield or
Yeah,
wave
no,
dashing out.
yeah. That's pretty bad. Like she's never like it has to be such a hard read for her to just like running near that.
Mm-hmm. So like you whiff grab, and then go into shield, and Samus is still scared.
Yeah. Okay.
Samus is still scared. She was also playing. I guess she was also. Just trying to think of a way to put this. She was like, I guess playing in favor of like covering your grounded shield options, if that makes sense. It's a bit wordy,
Yeah.
but that's basically what's happening.
So like maybe Nair or wait, no, that's not grounded. Why would she be trying to cover that though? I
Well,
mean it
because like,
worked. I'm dumb,
well, yeah,
so
no, like, wait, like covering, like because she's still like covering your wave dash. She's covering your wave dash out of shield tilt. She's covering also you just short hopping at her out of shield.
okay.
Because she's like putting herself in spots where she can CC on reaction. Like if you look at this wave dash back, right, that she does,
Yeah.
if you had jumped at her, she could be holding down.
Yeah.
But she still at the end of the day would not have been able to cover you just saying, no thanks, I'm out of here, and full hopping out.
Yeah. Okay.
Or it's just wave dashing out earlier. Because if she's all the
Yeah,
way
I
over
had the
here, what's she gonna
opportunity.
do?
Yeah. I had the opportunity to
Because
act, but
also
I didn't
something
take
that's
it.
happening with Samus when she sees a shield. Also, like again, like Peach is a character that this happens to, but just not to the same extent. But like if Samus is like in this spot, if Samus sees shield here, because of how slow her grab is, like how hard she has to work to grab you out of your shield,
Yeah, she's not
A
gonna
lot
do
of the
that.
time she's going to be looking to cover you out of shield option,
Yeah.
which means
Okay.
that you are fine. You are fine to take your time. You're chilling.
Mm-hmm.
And then like
Okay.
Peach is also, Peach and kind of like the slower characters are kind of more the same way. Like Ices is a character that's kind of similar, where they they have to work pretty hard in a lot of spots to actually grab your shield or pressure your shield. Like Peach can pressure your shield. Peach has really good shield pressure, but she also has setup time that goes along with the shield pressure. And
Yeah.
she's slow, so she can't just grab it, right? If Peach is here, she can't just run up and grab your shield. That's not on the table. She's too
Yeah.
slow. Um, but so, that means that in a lot of these spots, like Samus is going to be looking just to cover you at a shield option, because that's what that's her best option, essentially. Especially with no data, with no information on how you like to play the shield. Um, so you're fine. This is really not a bad spot for you. You're okay. Just vibe and hang out. And then, and then also again, because of her being slow and because of how good setting up that needle angle is for you. Because of the combination of that needle angle being really good, and then also her not really having the speed and ability to cover you full hopping out on reaction, the full hop becomes really good as well.
Right.
So full hopping out to the side plat and working from there would also be very good. Because also when you full hop out, right, you have time to react. Because when you full hop
Yeah.
out, you're like right here. And if you're like needling, if you're like needling before you land, you're releasing it somewhere around here. So you also still have time to react to what Samus is doing before you needle.
Mm.
Like it doesn't have to be full hop out needle. It's just really good. It could also be like, oh, full hop out, and then I see Samus just whiffed a move, so I'll just not go to plat.
Drop
I'll instead
through.
just drop.
Yeah.
You can
Or
like full
like,
hop out and then like use your drift to come back in, right, and not land on the plat.
is there
Or like
is there
maybe Samus like decides to play more aggressive and like maybe soft reads you go into plat, or like plays more aggressively in general, like pressures this area. So you see that happening, and instead of just like, oh, I'll just double jump out and wave land on top plat, and then now we're back.
Okay, yeah, that's exactly what I was gonna ask. I could also react to the offensive play, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah, because like a lot of you could I've have you like picked up on how Sheik being so slippery and hard for Samus to catch, and also so good at just instantly creating these advantage spots, ends up making situations like this really nerve-wracking for Samus.
Yeah, so I could just abuse stuff like that, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like just imagine what foxes do to you. They're just little
Fucking
slippery,
dumbass character.
just
Yeah.
little slippery goobers, slippery
Yeah.
goobers that can kill you off at any advantage state.
Yeah, okay.
And then also it's just kind of influenced by also just Samus not really being too good at actually, Samus at the end of the day a lot of the time having to make some kind of read even when she has an advantage like this.
Mm.
Because like that's what this Samus is doing, right? You're just
Trying to
just
read.
trying to
Yeah.
just trying to read her out of shield option because that's
Yeah, she's like not
Samus
touching me
plan
at
A.
all. Yeah.
Yeah, because you can kind of see how like a lot of the stuff that Samus is doing is based around your wave dash dash shield, right? Or
Yeah.
your movement out of shield into her space.
Okay.
And then something again, also because of like, and also it's like the way you play the corner here isn't amazing. But then also like this right here, right, this jab that Samus does, that's to check the boost grab. You see, we're
Yeah.
back in the same spot, and it, you know, preemptively jabs, so you can't boost grab her.
Mm.
And then what I think this dash attack
It
was
was just a reaction, I
I
think.
don't think so. I
Really?
Yeah, because like if you look at the frames, right, she's dash attacking very soon after your jab comes out.
No, I think it was just a reaction to the spacing, not the jab
Yeah.
itself.
Okay. Yeah.
I think she just like recognizes
Yeah.
that
Because
like
like
jab didn't hit,
yeah, because she
dash
whiffs
attack.
jab and she's still in boost grab range, just even closer.
Mm.
So I think a lot of Samuses make a similar decision where they see themselves at disadvantage, like frame disadvantage at boost grab range. So and they're this close, so they don't have time or space to wave dash back and avoid the boost
Hmm.
grab. So they have to like if they want to play around boost grab, they have to like put out a hitbox or spot dodge or short hop or something.
Right.
And this Samus chose dash attack, which is like that's like why I tried to make the disclaimer that it's like not even like it's not like I don't want to call it like a scrubby or like a random dash attack. Because like with that knowledge of how hard how Samus has to like preempt the boost grab a lot of the time, I
Hmm.
get it. it's
I mean,
obviously
it's
it
not.
wasn't the most clean solution, but yeah,
It
this
was a
is
solution
clearly the
nonetheless.
Samus. This is a solution to a problem. The Samus is making an intentional decision based on the matchup.
It just
This
doesn't
was
feel
this
like it
was
would be the
Samus
best
playing the
option.
matchup. Yeah, it wasn't. But at the end of the day, this is Samus playing the matchup, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
She is making a decision. She is making a preemptive decision because she kind of has to in order to
Yeah.
not get
Okay.
boost grabbed.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then also because you can like, but yeah, really you just got your jab got whiff punished, right?
It did. Yeah.
And also like just for the jab itself, that's another thing. It's been kind of like a not a huge recurring theme so far. Um, but like if you think about what this jab is going to get you against Samus at 46,
Nothing.
yeah, it's not going to get you anything.
Like I said, I think it was an F. So I have
And
a
then but then
uh
also like the F tilt wouldn't really get you anything either.
yeah. So I know that I consciously pick F tilt versus floaties like Samus, Peach,
Hmm.
and Puff
I
because
mean, yeah, it's
I'm
big.
not the reason. Yeah, because like I know it's not gonna get me anything, but I'm just not afraid of
Hmm.
playing the mix up that comes afterwards because I know that
Hmm.
they
Yeah, I mean it's gonna knock
kind of suck
down.
at covering
It's
below
gonna knock her
them.
down if she doesn't CC.
Yeah.
It's a big hitbox. Um, I think it might still lose to dash attack. Um, she's gonna have a hard time challenging a shield. But then
Right.
also again because going back to that same thing of like Samus having to work hard even when you're in disadvantage. Like, can you just imagine what would have happened if you had just held this position or like held it either by staying in place or by like dashing back into shield stop or something, or like wave dashing back or full hopping or short hopping or like wave landing and just
Hmm.
held this space. Do you see how like Samson would have to work even more? And
Yeah.
you still have space behind you, so you still have space to do that, like do the Sheik Ninja thing and just find your way out.
Yeah.
Do the slippery, slimy, fast top tier thing and just find your way out.
Right.
And then
Um.
also in this spot, I think holding down is gonna be pretty good as well, because
Yeah.
Samus has to, in order to
Let me
beat
look.
your CC, she has to like hit you with like a meaty dash attack. I think weak
Let me
hit dash
look.
attack is not gonna break CC.
I'm looking right now. Give me a sec.
Okay.
So where attacker? Where's Samus? Samus, hello? Do you exist? There she is.
Well, there's another corner spot where you could have made Samus work harder to get her opening. I guess I'll just say another.
So it was a late dash that hit me, right?
That was a
It
strong
was,
dash
yeah.
attack. That was strong.
Oh, okay. It was clean. And then I'm Sheik, so I'm getting there. And I was at what percent was I? 42.
Mm-hmm.
42. And then if I'm Crouching, or yeah, crouching, true. Oh, it still knocks me down. Or I don't CC it.
Okay. Okay, that's good to know.
Oh
Because
wait,
I
no, I
think,
do CC it.
yeah, there
That's a
you go.
lie. Whoops, my bad.
But yeah, so
Yeah,
like if
no.
you just yeah, so like in terms of her ways of breaking that CC, she's like really at the end of the day like wave dash forward down smashing you or run cancel down smashing you. And then also you can just shield as well. Because
Yeah, that's what I was
if she wants
thinking.
to call out the shield here, then she has to gamble with the grab.
Yeah. Okay.
Um like generally when I play against like Portland Samus, he's able to grab me in those spots a lot, but that's also just because we've played a lot of sets, and he's also really good at the Sheik matchup.
Mm.
So he just has a really good sense of like when Sheiks in general like to shield, and then also from previous experience against me when I like to shield. But then also something that's really good against Samus, that like I that when I'm like I'll do against him that makes it really hard, a lot harder for him and Samus is like going into shield in a spot like this, right? And then basically using the shield itself just as a reaction point and just trying to go into shield to kind of block the immediate attack, right?
Yeah.
And then if you don't either react to not seeing the immediate attack or kind of time it in a way where you're like in shield for a little bit, and then based on what you see the Samus kind of like working towards, you move out.
Okay.
Because like if you're just in shield sparingly, just like quickly in and out, it makes it a lot harder for Samus to grab your shield.
Right.
Because then she grabs you. Oh, you're only in shield for a few frames, and then you're just now she's getting grabbed or reversaled.
Yeah. Man, but now that you mentioned I'm noticing a lot of overarching patterns in the way I play versus floaties because that CC point was actually something that was brought up versus my versus Peach as well. It's like, dude,
Mm-hmm.
you're in a range where her best option or like her most offensive option and immediate option is like dash attack, so just CC it.
Mm-hmm.
Just
Oh.
sit there, hold your ground,
Mm-hmm.
hold down.
Oh
Okay.
yeah. Also, so yeah, going back to the dash attack. So yeah, if you look at the frames of this, right, it's just not possible for Samus to react with dash attack like this. Just
No,
the
it was a
time
reaction to
isn't
this.
there.
It
Yeah,
was a
and
reaction to
so,
the position. Yeah.
but so that means that this is also a Peach thing too. This is a huge Peach thing. It's like
Yeah,
if you're in this
exactly.
spot, right, the platform being here makes it weirder, but not that different in terms of like the reward you can get out of it. If you jump short hop or full hop or waveland or whatever, you're going to go over the dash tack. You're going to avoid it, and then you have the chance to reversal her.
Right.
And that's a really important thing happening in the Peach matchup where keeping in mind that dash tack range because it's it's her threat range, right? That's
Right.
the furthest she can reach unreactably. Keeping that in mind and playing around it like that is really important, especially at those percents where it's her basically her only real tool for breaking CC.
Yeah.
And then weak hit Peach dash attack is going to be the same way where it just does not it knocks down through
Yeah, it's
CC very late.
yeah. Especially if it's weak, it like basically never knocks down.
Mm-hmm. Um.
I don't know
Yeah,
if
you kind
the
of just got mixed. You may have been able to wiggle out. I'm not entirely sure. It feels like this isn't real. It
there's a
feels
chance
like
it
you can
wasn't.
wiggle out here. And then also you just got mixed on the DI.
Yeah, a little bit.
I think like the dash attack caught you by surprise, and that kind of mixed you, and then the forward smash also caught you by surprise.
Yeah, it did.
Okay, and then also another spot right here, right? You see how you have this advantage, and you risk it, and there's a chance of you giving it up because now you're right here, you're in the corner, but
Mm-hmm.
you do end up making it, do end up getting it back. But that's another example of a spot where you do give up that advantage, and it could very well have gone badly for you.
Yeah.
Where, like, you know, you could do, if you're looking for an aerial, you can get an aerial just fine while holding center in this spot.
Okay.
You know, because, like, you can even do, you know, like, you can do a similar jump, right? You can do a jump where,
I'm drifting back instead.
yeah, you're
Maybe.
drifting back, or you're jumping more in place.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you wave land out of your short hop or full hop or whatever instead. Maybe you, like, full hop, needle, and then, like, into maybe shield drop stuff, or into, like, dash off, run off stuff, you know, what have you.
Right.
But, you know, there are if you're looking for an aerial here in the spot, there are multiple ways you could have gotten an aerial and still, you know, and held more of your advantage.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, if you don't get the aerial, right? Because, like, if you think about this situation in terms of this situation, right, both ways, like this approach where you go into the corner and, like, swap with Samus, and the approach where you just hold center. If you don't get the aerial, in either case, you holding center is gonna be so much better,
Right.
right? Because you, like, in this matchup, Samus is fucking terrified of being cornered.
Yeah.
Because, like, you know, like we talked about earlier, she just doesn't have wave dash back. What she, like, her options for dealing with you boost grabbing her are so much more limited, and also you jumping in at her.
Yeah.
Because, like, for the jump ins, one of her best ways of, like, dealing with it on reaction is the wave dash back. Because she can
Okay.
wave dash back, right? And then, like, with, like, you know, hit your landing with, like, down smash, down tilt, up tilt, which is basically one of her only real ways of doing that type of thing on reaction. And if she's in the corner, she can't do that. She just can't. She doesn't
Okay.
have. She can't wave dash back. And also, like, this is an example of dealing with the missiles, right? You just
Yeah.
bear
Barrett.
through them.
Fuck it.
And then also for edge guarding, because now we've been going on for a little while, and I want to talk about. I want to make sure to talk about the edge guarding stuff too, and also just watch the rest of the games.
Yeah, we've been here for a
Yeah.
while.
Yeah, I mean, it's very often just there will be multiple situations in, like, the first 30 seconds that are all, you know, really important to talk about.
Yeah. Especially at like lower levels, you can basically capture what you need to get in the first like 30 seconds, and then the rest
Yeah.
is just like, well, you just repeated your mistakes, so work on that.
Yeah, especially because, like that spot at 9 seconds, right, where you had Samus on top plat, the same idea is applied to a lot of the other spots in this set, right?
Yeah.
Like, the same fundamental ideas in that spot apply to, like, you having Samus in the corner.
Mm.
Like, because it's just a disadvantage state. You just have Samus in a lot of disadvantage, and the principles for playing with your strong advantage are going to be the same. Like, the overall principles, right? In terms of holding your advantage. So I'm just going to make a note here, because this is very important. So when you have opponent and disadvantage, you want to keep them there and benefit from the EV, like, you know, expected value. I'll just write expected value.
Right.
Of playing favorable RPS over time, right? Because the longer you keep them there, you know, just like the longer you keep them there, the more value you'll accrue.
Okay.
Right? Because it's inherently, you know, inherently a bad position for them, where the odds are weighted against them. So the longer they stay there, the more likely it is that they get hit.
Okay.
Because, you know, it's just weighted RPS, right? Where you can cover a higher percentage of their options, and they also, and then the opposite for them, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because when you're in disadvantage, you just don't have as many options.
Yeah, of course.
Which means you don't have as many ways of interacting with your opponent's options, which also means that, if you cover, like, just imagine it like, just to make it really simple, right? So if you take RPS, there are 3 things you can do. If you're in a spot where you lose access to one of them, then your opponent just doing one option is now going to cover like 50% of your options
instead of 33. Yeah.
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 And then, with how Melee works and just like how fighting games in general work, a lot of the time in those spots, you can cover like multiple of those options. That's like that's what a checkmate situation is. Like you'll hear commentators talk about like a checkmate situation. There's like hear people refer to it where you effectively just cover all of their relevant options. And the only choice your opponent has is to take the hit.
Right.
There's also a specific video I'm going to put in the notes. FGC translated keep corner. I'll find it, but I'll find it after this. But there's a specific video by like a Japanese Street Fighter player, I think Mago, who is one of the 5 gods of Street Fighter. This is where the term 5 gods came from for Melee, the 5 gods of Street Fighter in Japan.
I didn't actually know that. That's interesting.
Yeah. And he has a video, like there's a channel called FGC Translated, which basically just translates like stream clips from Japanese players. And he has a video where he talks about this exact thing. Where the idea when you have your opponent in the corner is to keep them in the corner. Because it's their job to get out, and the longer you keep them in a bad spot where the odds are stacked against them, the more likely it is that you'll get a hit. Just because of the math of it.
Yeah.
So as a final note for this section, it's their job to get out of the bad spot. And then also, just to kind of like, because this is really important. This is a really important idea. Because it also affects how you play like the disadvantage spots, right? Because like it's just really important to know that when your opponent has you an advantage or disadvantage, this is happening for them too, right? And it's like it's just really important to understand that inherently when you're in disadvantage, you are gambling. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
The odds are stacked against you, and it's your job to either just be crackjacked and stacked, or like just make an educated gamble.
Okay.
And also just be unpredictable, right?
Yeah, of course. You want to
if you're predictable, then it's much easier for your opponent to just cover the option you've been doing a lot, and then also cover something else, right?
Yeah, 50% turns into 100% essentially.
And then also, this is a thing that none talked about. There's just another way to view this where, in Melee / fighting games, advantage works on a sliding scale, where the goal is to progress from one state to the next, as opposed to go from one end to the other. So essentially, you have like severe disadvantage to disadvantage to neutral to advantage to severe advantage. Where the idea is, if you're in, essentially you want to go one at a time. Where if you're in severe disadvantage, the goal is to just make it to normal disadvantage. And then from there make it to neutral, and then from there make it to advantage, and then from there make it to severe advantage, and then from there make it to killing them.
Yeah.
Where, if you're like in severe disadvantage and you play it like you have advantage, or you make some weird gamble that It just doesn't make sense, right? With the amount of advantage you have, it's not gonna work out.
Yeah.
Whereas, like if you just kind of try to progress from one to the next, it's just a lot more consistent.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also just like a fighting game fundamental, right? Like in order to get back to neutral from like being juggled, you first have to get to like a spot that's kind of bad but not that bad,
Yeah.
and then from there get to neutral.
Right.
And that's also, happening where like, you kind of have in like those corner spots, you have like maybe somewhere between, you have like maybe this arrow in between neutral and advantage. And then you just do something, you try and leapfrog, right, straight to that severe advantage state. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
Yeah. Okay. Mm.
But then it's also, so yeah, for an edge guard thing. So this is a spot where you could theoretically needle Samus here.
Okay.
Like,
Also
do you see
wonder
how?
yeah, I could just jump from plat, right? And then needle.
Well, so you can, you can jump from plat and needle.
I could drop
You
also
can
maybe?
also, so you can drop. And if you think about how Samus is going to want to recover, her recovering above stage like this isn't really that realistic. Like Samus, that's just generally not really a
She'll
good
get
thing for Samus to
sharked.
be doing.
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's going to favor going, like in this kind of area, right? She's
Yeah.
going to be going kind of like this or like maybe like that, like some kind of curling situation where her goal is like, the ledge essentially.
Yeah.
She really doesn't want to recover on stage, especially with you being at 0 and with that making the idea of her reverseling you in some way a lot harder, if not impossible. Yeah, because like if she's, what's an aerial gonna do to you? what's
It's
an
not
aerial?
even gonna knock
What?
me
Yeah.
down. Yeah.
um, but so with that in mind, something you could do here is maybe like, basically what I'd be looking at is trying to line up the way you act here with getting a needle out, cutting her off right here,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So you kind of want to make her fall into the needle, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, for that reason, like, yeah, that full hop needle, if you just look at where she is after the hit, right? Yeah, full hop needle could work. You kind of see that, right?
Yeah.
So, like, full hop needle would be, like, kind of right here. So maybe she, like, fast falls early or something, then she'd fall into the needle.
Yeah.
You
And then
can
I could needle
also
her again from that
shoot a
spot.
needle straight out. That's also on the table. Right? Do you see
So
how that might, like, put it out a bit earlier?
it's all right.
Hmm.
I
But, like,
watched the session
yeah, it's
between
just,
who
it's
was
on
it?
the table.
Mm,
I prefer going for the aerial needles, but standing needle is always just on the table. Especially
Yeah.
because one of the things that's happening when you miss a standing needle against Samus is that very often it's not the end of the edge guard. You can
Yeah.
still edge guard her after missing a needle, after missing a standing needle. You have time because her recovery takes time.
Right.
Um,
The wait, let me think. Who was? Oh no, wait. I watched the session with some coach a while back, and they said that you have to think about needles as how you're slicing the offstage.
Yeah, exactly.
So with needles, you're slicing diagonally. With jump needles, you're slicing diagonally. With standing needles, you're slicing horizontally. And they said that generally you don't really want to be slicing
Mm-hmm.
horizontally.
Yeah, because also I think aerial needles. Let me see if the aerial needles also, for some weird reason, have a thicker hitbox than standing needles. I'll just pull it up on my screen. So you see how, a needle comes out when she's horizontal, right? And they're like this, right? See
Yeah.
the hitbox here?
Yeah.
Compared to aerial needles, where they're covering more space. Like that's
Oh,
one needle right there.
oh, oh. Okay, so Needle
You can,
Storm works differently.
and you can see here, there's the needle, right?
Yeah.
And then there's another one. Oh, there's another one. Whereas for aerial needles, here's one needle, right? And this is a single needle. So yeah,
Bam.
that's a big reason why the aerial needles tend to be better than the standing needles, is because not only can you get them out, effectively faster, because you can
Mm-hmm.
auto cancel them, or you can run,
Yeah,
run
yeah,
off whatever. Um, but also they just cover more space.
yeah.
And then, but yeah, that idea of like kind of slicing the stage is huge because like you kind of want to think about it in terms of like making
How
the
melee recoveries work,
yeah,
basically.
kind of like matching up what area you're covering with how the recovery path, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because like
Yeah.
that's like what I was thinking was like talking about like trying to make like Samus fall onto the needles is like thinking about what's the most likely way she's gonna recover and how can I put a needle there.
Right. Okay. So I don't want to be looking at where she is. I want to be looking at like where she will end up most
Yeah,
likely,
exactly.
right? Okay. Um,
Um, and then so, but
so
also then for like a needle, just
yeah.
for examples of needles you could do, something you could do would be like after this waveland, you could double jump back on and reverse needle. All right, you
Yeah.
see how that would effectively hit her right here? Just hit her out right here.
Yeah.
But that's kind of like that's something that's one of the harder things to pick up on, just in general with Sheik, is identifying those spots where where it is possible to get like a quick snipe in there.
Yeah.
I do like that you really grabbed ledge early though. Like I like that you
The
grabbed
re
ledge here. Looks like you have a plan.
I did. So what
Mm-hmm.
my plan was, like I know exactly what I'm thinking in that situation. I'm seeing um I'm Rabbit Alex did a really decent drift. So I'm seeing that and I'm thinking, oh, he's still kind of holding out. I think I can just set myself up for a bear spot here if I just grab the ledge. But then they started drifting in pretty late.
Mm-hmm.
So like my I reacted when I was still on platform. It was like that's a prime spot for strong back air. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna grab the ledge. I'm just gonna back air it because they seem to be falling down. They don't seem to be drifting in. Um, Also a lot. I've played versus a lot of Samuses in Europe, and they tend to really like their bullshit um down B stalls, like right outside of your range,
Mm-hmm.
above stage as well. So
Mm-hmm.
they'll do like down B, and then they'll do like
Yeah.
jump
So
Zair
that
or something like
that
that.
is one of those situations where the standing needle definitely has its place. Because
Okay.
they have to commit pretty hard to that kind of bomb jump, right?
Yeah.
Where like if Samus had decided to bomb jump like right here, I can just find my space bar. Um, if Samus had decided to bomb jump like right here, maybe she falls down a little bit and then bomb jumps, right? Like right about this spot. She's gonna
That's
be in
pretty
that same place for quite a while, and a standing needle will just hit her out of it. And
right.
because she's committing that time to the recovery, then like the downside of standing needle being higher lag, also cutting off less screen space is much less of a factor.
Right.
Especially when you have a much better idea of the exact position on the screen that Sam is going to be in.
Okay.
Like for that reason, like I like going to top plat, like saying needles from top plat, also just needles from top plat in general. Because if
Oh.
you kind of think about, if you kind of think about each of these positions as covering different recovery paths, can you kind of like see how that ends up working out? Or like from each of these positions, you can cover a different kind of group of recoveries.
Yeah, like the lower you go, the lower and lower the recovery path that you recover essentially, or
Mm-hmm.
that you cover. So like very high, you're covering like a really high one that probably is aiming to get back to stage or like a side plat.
Mm-hmm.
Side plat's like a middle ground, and then at the bottom you're trying to, cut them off for a low recovery.
Yeah, and then also the ledge is also kind of a plat effectively because you can do the similar stuff, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because you can like run off and then double jump, needle back on, or you can
Yeah.
like whatever run off, needle while falling, stuff like that, or you can run off, But it's
Yeah.
like each
Okay.
of these kind of positions covers a different kind of layer, right, of the recovery path, right? They each cover like a different area of the screen.
Mm.
So sometimes Samus are going to be like recovering a lot up here, and then you can just snipe them with the needle from top plat.
But that's
Sometimes
not
they're
something you should do on
recovering.
every stage, right?
Yeah, it depends.
Because like if you do it on Dreamland, that's
Yeah, because
not gonna
needle's
work
going
that
to run
well.
out, but it also just depends, right?
Mm.
Because Samus is like right here, just barely off stage in this position. You're on top plat Dreamland. It's needle's still going to hit them.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Um, but yeah, it's just like kind of thinking about Samus's recovery paths. Just like the idea with Edgeguard in general, and especially Samus, where she kind of has some more defined recovery paths. Marth too.
Yeah.
Is that a lot of it, especially because both like Marth, Samus, Peach, a lot of characters like Puff, really they can just fold. Their recovery can fold if they get needled out of their jump a single time.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, so just thinking about, okay, where is my opponent most likely to be? Where is their recovery going to take them? And how can I get a needle there in a way that still lets me have a flow chart if the needle misses?
Okay.
Which is a big reason why the aerial learners are so good, is because it's the amount of time you commit to them is so small, and a lot of the time you'll still be able to do some kind of edge guarding flow chart, even if they miss.
Hmm.
There's also like
Okay.
why stuff like a run off, like practicing like run off needle here, or like landing with needle here into immediate grab ledge is really good,
Yeah.
because that's just a really powerful edge guarding tool to have. And then same thing that's happening. Same thing right here, right?
Probably
Like
should
you can
just
see how
press
like
grab.
stuff we were talking about is happening here too. Where you have Samus and really bad, you have extreme advantage here, right? Like look at how plus you are.
Yeah, no, I could have just pressed grab. There was
And then she
not
spot
there,
dodges.
like before that, like when she lands on stage, I could have just pressed Z and it would have worked no matter what. Like that.
Um, she'd be able to spot dodge that too.
Oh.
Yeah, because I think I'm not entirely sure.
Go frame by frame.
It looks like she was
I could have
actually right
grabbed.
about here.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh yeah, and grab slower, right? I'm dumb,
yeah.
so it's
Grab
like
7.
right.
Jab is 2.
Yeah. No, for
So
some
I
reason I was
think
like, oh yeah, I could just press
yeah.
Z.
So in this spot, she can probably spot dodge that. Spot dodge that grab. Her jab would also have a good chance of stuffing it. But also here you kind of just got the way you release ledge also ends up not really working out. Because you both released ledge a bit too early. And then also just kind of your move choice of how the way you released ledge also wasn't super great.
Yeah, I don't know what I was going for.
Yeah, because you can like back air here too, right?
Yeah, I
You
could have
see how
just dropped
you
down
have
back up
invincible back air here.
Yeah.
And if you had done like just a little minute difference in timing would make replacing the nair with a bear just hit Samus out of the stall or out of her up B.
Yeah.
Because you were just a bit above her. And then bear also goes a bit below SHEIK.
Yeah.
And then here, same thing, right? You have her in a boost grab spot, and she's aware of that, and so she chooses to do something preemptively, which is spot dodge, and you get reversaled.
Yeah.
Where if you had just held this spot right here, if you had held this spot, and in a spot like this, yeah, if you held this spot, you can set up pressure. You can set up like some kind of delayed pressure. You can like do some kind of like stutter step type deal that gives you a reaction point, and then also lets you like boost grab the spot dodge. Jumping here would also be good, because then you're You know, if she spot dodges, you're still totally fine. You still have a lot of advantage. But you know, that same idea, same thing is happening here, right? Where you have Samus in such a bad spot that just because she has to do something here, if she does nothing, she's just getting boost grabbed.
Yeah.
Which means that just if you hold the spot, then it's very likely you'll just get a hit out of whatever situation happens afterwards.
Mm.
Um, and that also that thing in general, it's that whole like stutter stepping thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where you move in a way like maybe you do the same dash, right? But you like wave dash down instead, or you wave dash back, or you shield stop, or you run up crouch, or you wave land, or you short hop or something, right? Where you just kind of set up that delayed timing is going to be like a natural counter to her doing something like this.
Right.
Can you see how that works?
Yeah.
In fighting games, like in traditional fighting games, there's like an RPS essentially, or three main options in a spot like this. Essentially, it is strike, just like you know a hitbox, right? Throw,
Yeah.
throw, grab,
Mm-hmm.
and then also shimmy, which is what that kind of stutter step is. Where essentially the shimmy is designed to be the same thing, right? Like in like a knockdown situation, like Street Fighter shimmy, just be like walking back for a little bit and then walking back in. Because the idea is by walking in, you know, like presenting the threat of strike or throw, you make your opponent do something, and then you come back in and punish it. Right? You
So,
essentially you make them, you use your threat you have to make them whiff something, and then you whiff punish.
right.
Or
Okay.
that's basically you know what that kind of like stutter step is thing is, right? Where you have a threat, it makes them whiff, and then you punish it.
Okay.
You know, like you just use the really scary position you have in here to make Samus do something punishable and then punish it.
Mm.
And then it's also just a godlike mix up because you after you establish that, then you can just go back to boost grabbing them.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she's just like, oh, what the fuck do I do?
And then
Probably like,
also like, you know, if this is maybe she's a bit further to stage here, like if you do that and it makes her wave dash back, that's still a huge win because then she's in a much worse position.
yeah, she has a lot of space. Doesn't matter.
Mm, like that idea of being okay, like gaining space like that, especially if it means Samus putting herself in the absolute corner, being a win for you is also really huge, especially in the floaty matchups.
Yeah.
Like it's a big thing in Peach too, where like
Yeah.
if she wave dashes back and you don't go into it, and a lot of the time you'll still be advantaged, you'll still be like plus right frame wise, so
Mm-hmm.
you'll still get like a good mix up out of it, and she'll also have made her position worse.
Okay.
Where it's like that same idea, right, of just keeping her in the bad spot, and because she chose to gamble with something that moves back and you didn't fall for it, then she's just in even worse position. You can like rinse and repeat.
Okay.
Um, so I'm going to I'm just gonna write FGC translated video right here so I remember. And then yeah, so 35. Like so you have Samus then so like all the way cornered with a lot of frame advantage, like like maybe like I would say like 5 or 6 ish, somewhere around there, you know, because
Mm.
it's like just enough time. It's enough time for her to just barely get spot dodge out in time,
Yeah.
which is still a lot. That's still a lot to work with. Also, something else you could do, like another like a weirder option you could do that is kind of shimmy esque in a sense would be something like run up down smash, because it would still
Oh,
be hitting with the delayed timing, right?
also good chance it pushes her off if it just hits
Mm.
her shield.
And that would be an example of like a call out specifically for the spot dodge.
Okay.
And then also like maybe even something like I don't know, like up tilt could do it. You know, that has a delayed hit. If there wasn't a plat here, short hop like delaying your fast fall could also do it.
Yeah, I'm
Right,
mixing
just
that
something
up.
to like kind of create that delayed timing.
Mm.
Because one of the fucked up parts of this situation is that not only do you have an advantage in like basically every way possible. You have a timing advantage, which you can use to play a timing mix up. You have a stage advantage, which you can take advantage of because you can't move back. You have a
Mm-hmm.
percent advantage. Um, basically you just have every possible advantage. So there are a lot of different like good mix ups you can play, right? Especially
Okay.
in a spot like this where you don't necessarily have enough advantage for it to be a true punish.
Okay. Okay.
Um, and you boost grab into her down smash. So something to think about in spots like this, where you have a lot of advantage, but no true punish, is playing a timing mix-up slash like hitting at a delayed timing. It's also like another reason why something like that short hop would be so good, and also just like this delayed timing idea in general is because like if you replace that Samus spot dodge with like a down smash in place or like an like an F tilt in place or like that like an in place move, it's the same idea. Where if you go in immediately, you might get you're possibly getting hit, but delayed timing also beats a hitbox.
Mm.
Then like Samus up tilt would be the wrench, where like that's also a delayed timing, but then you're getting into like mind games and you just go back to doing normal stuff.
Doing the basic stuff, yeah.
Um,
Samus up tilt. I mean, how would she pull that off though? Damn.
yeah, that's you so just one sec. Use threat of boost grab to make Samus do something, then come in at a slightly delayed timing to punish it. In traditional fighters, this is called a shimmy, and I'll also put a video here. Yeah, I think there's like I know for sure there's like a Sajam video where he explains like this whole triangle, like this shimmy strike throw triangle, in a way that's really generally applicable and easy to learn from. There are a lot of other videos that do it too, so I'll just see which one is
Mm.
most appropriate. And yeah, also, but with Samus up tilt, uh, that's an example of something she can do, kind of like a preemptive thing she can do that happens to cover the air approaches and kind of the
Right.
ground approaches, right?
Okay.
But that's always pretty much always going to be a read.
Yeah, of course.
Samus
And
up
if she starts
tilting is
reading
a
it,
read on basically your exact timing you're approaching with.
okay.
But yeah, so I think I'm probably just gonna speed through the rest of this.
Yeah, we've been here for a
And
while.
yeah.
Yeah, sorry about that. I tend to talk a lot.
Oh, dude, all good.
Mm,
Yeah, I mean, like in like a learning context, generally talking is pretty good.
yeah, I know, right? It's great. No, I just talk a lot. Or
Mm.
I don't know how, but I managed to like really drag sessions out with like every single coach I've had is just like, dude, please, we've been here for an hour and a half. Can we?
This is an example of Samus reading you with grab, right? She's reading that you're going to shield here and stay in shield.
Yeah, I mean, because she's seen a similar situation before. I was like,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because that's a big thing happening with Samus grabs, right? In order for her to land the grabs, she needs data.
yeah,
She needs
I'm
to base the
surprised.
grabs off of previous interactions.
That was a really fast read, though. That was like one interaction, and they just went for it. That's
I think it's
damn.
also probably a read on Sheiks in general.
Maybe actually, yeah, that's a good point.
Um, because yeah, a lot of Sheiks, especially because if you look at what Samus is doing, right? If you look at what she's doing here, she's running at you, she's wave dashing at you, and she's entering all of her tilt range, her smash range, her jab range, what have you,
Mm-hmm.
which inherently is going to make you want to shield.
Yeah.
So Samus knows this because this seems like a pretty experienced Samus player. So yeah, they're gonna
They're not
go
bad.
for
They're not bad.
that's the classic Samus mix-up.
Yeah.
Create a situation where it looks like the Samus is going to hit you and then throw you. It's really just strike throw, right? At the end of the day,
Okay.
you thought she was going to strike, and she knew that you thought she was going to strike, so she threw.
Yeah, it's just through. Yeah. Okay.
And then here, yeah, this is an example of a spot where you did have that advantage, right? Enough
I
advantage
just
to
waited a
true
bit.
punish. Also, this is a really good example of a situation where you did do the just playing the advantage thing, right? You had her in a
I
really
do.
bad spot, and you realized that, and you just waited. You just played
I do it on a whim.
it.
Sometimes I realize it. Otherwise, others I don't. I'm a very whimsical player like that. I don't.
There's a needle here too, by the way, right? Just go back to thinking about that, like
Yeah, I
looking at
probably
her
should have
recovery
jumped it,
paths.
right?
This could be a steady needle actually. This is
Oh, okay.
based on hindsight, but if you want to cover this recovery option that Samus does, um, where I'm losing. Sometimes they get lost in the
Yeah.
slippy file, but okay, there we go. So like, if you're looking at this right here, right, she puts herself in needle range right there of the standing needle.
Okay.
That is also, it looks like a full hop needle angle to me as well, though. See
Yeah,
how
that's what I
this
said.
kind of would
Yeah.
work. And then you can
Okay.
also be needling her all throughout all of this, right? Do you see
Yeah,
how
just
where
like
she's putting herself?
yeah, should just be pressing. Yeah.
Just
Okay.
basically like every time Samus commits to a bomb jump like this, she's gonna be in this spot for a while, right?
Right. Right. Okay.
She's in relatively the same spot after a bomb jump for quite a bit.
Mm.
Which is like that's like why an example of like like that Portland Samus is actually like I do standard like Samus Edgeguard stuff against him, and he's played so much of the matchup and he's so good at it that he just knows how to path his recovery through all like the common needle
Yeah,
spots,
SHEIK.
right?
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe if he's doing this bomb jump, he might be doing it like right here, where he can't be staying needled, or maybe he's doing it like right here, where it's kind of awkward to get a needle out, as
Yeah.
opposed to
How the
right here
hell?
where there's a staining needle.
Right.
And that's again just another preemptive boost grab call out by the Samus.
I wasn't to the reason I did it is because I wasn't. I was thinking that very particularly that charge shot might come out, and I just wasn't afraid of it because I was like
Mm-hmm.
at 0%. I was like, I
Yeah,
could
you're
just eat
fine.
it. I don't
Yeah, you gotta
care.
kill off it. Although also this is a spot, that charge shot spot is a good example of where something like running like shield stop would be really good.
Oh, because I could just eat it on shield,
Yeah,
right?
because you eat it on shield. And also, if Samus decides to put a hitbox out instead of the charge shot, you can shield that, maybe even power shield it, and then get some kind of advantage or like play some kind of good mix up off that, right? Because Samus's tilts and smashes they don't have good frame data on shield.
What would you say the chances that I get red with the grab there? Because it feels like that could also happen.
Not high. That
Okay.
would be more of a deep in the set thing.
Okay.
That's a deep in the set, or you've played like like fucking 20 or more sets against the Samus
Yeah.
lifetime.
No, because it just like I'm just looking at it, right, and it had
Mm.
a hint of like the previous situations where it's like I'm trying to approach back onto stage. They very clear, or not very clearly, but they have some
Mm.
form of advantage.
Okay.
So
So, but then also think about if Samus grabs here, look at.
so what? Yeah, I'm 2%. Oh no.
Yeah.
Anyway.
But no, like if Samus grabs here, like look at
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
That. No, I'm not. Yeah, I shouldn't be
And
worried
then
in
you
the
also
slightest.
just
That's
have a
true.
short hop.
Right.
And she's at
Okay.
82.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
But yeah, so that's just, but just like, and then also like needle here, by the way, right here.
Yeah, it would
You
be
see
good.
this angle, like run off needle. Because she, I think, jumped to avoid that needle.
Okay.
You see how she puts herself right here, right? And
Mhm.
then sees you on the plat like this, where this is the possible needle angle, and
Mhm.
then jumps out of the spot right before landing in it.
Right.
And then also, yeah, puts herself right there for a needle.
Okay.
Like, this needle is really good. I love this needle.
Yeah. So, I mean, I didn't recognize the initial needle, and I'm pretty sure that's because I'm very biased towards covering Zare recoveries.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's just what European Samsons do. That's all they fuck. I mean, not just European Samsons. I'm pretty sure that
Oh, nice down tilt.
U.S. Samsons do it a lot too. But yeah.
Oh, Slippy's freaking out.
Oh, calm down. Oh, yeah, I love it when it does this. It's great.
um, there was an example. Okay, yeah. So this needle, by the way, this is
Hmm.
also an example of how that kind of short hop mix up works when Samus is in those disadvantaged spots.
Yeah.
Where like, this isn't this the exact situation. Like this is the exact little advantage. It doesn't come up that much. But like if you just look at what Samus had to deal with in terms of the mix, like the options you have on the table here, like you could be fairing here, you could be double jump, delayed fair here, you could be tomahawking here until like whatever. You could be doing so many different threatening options off of just this short hop.
Right.
Right? If you imagine the short hop before you release a needle, just the sheer amount of options Samus has to deal with and account for.
Mm.
Especially at high percent where fair is just gonna kill her.
Yeah.
Okay, that was a risky needle.
Yeah. Probably shouldn't have gone for it.
They're okay. Just
Okay,
they're
that dare, controller fuck up. 100% a controller fuck up. There's no way I ever go for a dare like that.
Yeah, I believe it.
Like, I might not be the greatest player in the world, but come the fuck on.
This is also look at how much this space backer gets you, by the way.
Oh, okay, yeah, I need to practice it. I'll
Do
go
you
into
see how
exercise.
like how good this situation becomes for you?
Yeah, that's a knockdown tech chase.
That knockdown tech
Lovely.
chase, and then also I think that you overextended a bit here, right? Because you didn't have enough advantage to work with where like it
Mm-hmm.
made sense. So you kind of like leapfrogged here.
Okay.
But if you look at this situation, right, like Samus rolls into the absolute corner, and then you're playing this with her.
I could just play advantage again, not
Mm-hmm.
commit to anything. Right.
And also, this is another situation where that short hop is gonna be so powerful because like she doesn't have setup time, and she doesn't have the way to dash
Not at
back.
all, yeah. Yeah, okay, okay.
So you think about if you had short hopped here and just like right here, Samus is not having a good time.
Okay, right.
And again, this is like strike throw, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is the fundamental mix up happening where both options are really bad for Samus. They're both not great. They're both
Yeah.
She has a terrible time against both of them. And she has to basically guess the right one every time.
Okay.
And your strike like short hop here, right, is going to let you both react to what she's doing, and then also just because of the way she is as a character, going to be hard for her to do anything about in the first place.
Hmm.
It's just that boost grab is so powerful, and the reward is so high that it's boost grab against Samus. You're getting a down throw,
Yeah.
but the reward from that short hop there is also gonna be really high because like even if you don't get like a true punish off, if you just get like a single hit or like you hit her shield right, like if you stagger her, she's still in that same situation, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it's going to be worse for her still. Looks like
Okay.
the Samus is hard reading, like calling out your ledge dash F tilt quite a bit. That's rough.
Oh, that's yeah, that dare was just like
Hmm.
yeah. Also,
Yeah. I mean,
that was
that's the
game
same.
2. That wasn't game 1.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, okay. So it makes sense why maybe she's reading a couple of things more.
Hmm.
Because I very distinctly remember
Okay.
that seeing
Okay,
that
so
dare and
yeah, it
just going
makes sense
cool.
that she'd be calling out the F tilts more then.
Yeah,
Which she has been
I
calling out the F
do
tilts quite a bit.
I do admit I am a very heavy F tilter from ledge.
Okay. Yes, I guess.
If you want to call it there, by the way, because it's been 2 hours, that's also
Hmm.
fine.
No,
It's
just
up to you. I'm
I'm
happy to continue. I'm
down.
just letting you know that,
Hmm. I'm down to just like
because
speed through this game.
all right.
Just watch this. Oh, they were both on Fountain. Okay.
I ran it back on Fountain because I
Okay,
don't
so
I
this one's
wasn't
at
particular.
416. This one's at. Oh, okay. Here we go.
Yeah. What?
Just slippy things.
Oh, okay.
It doesn't
When
like
you
it when
play
you have the playback dolphin.
alongside, yeah.
Uh, there we go. Okay. Yeah, I was playing
Alright.
Pichu.
Yeah, I was gonna say, when you play fucking Peach.
Yeah, I've been playing a lot of. I've been playing significantly more doubles friendlies than singles friendlies lately. Like at least like a 4 or 5 to 1 ratio.
Yeah, doubles are
Um.
so fucking fun.
Oh yeah, and towards the end of after towards the end of a long session, just like with each game, the likelihood that the whatever random goober comes out gets much higher.
Yeah.
Like I'm playing a lot of like Puff in doubles. I'm playing a lot of Ices in doubles.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, it turns out doubles are really fun. Okay, yeah. But also she called out the F tilt, right? Did you see that?
Regardless, yeah. So maybe it's just something she's expecting in general.
And then there's a crab here too. It looks like yeah, she's like calling out a shield or something right here. Do you see this?
Interesting,
She's like
yeah.
calling out you taking missile into shield.
Joke's on you. I'll just get hit.
Okay. I do really like that you were going for the needles though.
Yeah.
And then also again going back to that like sliding scale, right? If you think
Hmm.
about this state you were in, you're without your double jump. Samus has center. She has time. She has frame advantage. So you're at pretty bad disadvantage here. And
Yeah.
essentially you tried to leapfrog, right?
Okay.
Because like this is, it's like you played this situation like you had more to work with than you actually did.
Yeah.
Yeah, because it's really actually not that hard for her to beat this back air.
She did, as a matter of fact.
Yeah. But it's just like from the Sam's perspective, right? Like it is very easy for her to cover coming down like double jump aerial like this. Just like with the advantage she has, it's very easy for her to cover it as well as the other
Hmm.
options, right?
Hmm.
Like if you think about just like the way the RPS is affecting the situation, like this is just weighted RPS. Like you just had a small pool of options, and Sam's was able to cover not just your option that you chose, but also others.
Right.
Like in this spot, maybe you can like this is also a drift thing too. Like you can drift this way.
Harder,
You
yeah.
can drift harder. You can maybe because there's I think extended your hurt box with the bear there.
Yeah,
You
I'm
see how
pretty sure
that
I did.
worked? Where you could also I think just land in the shield here because you see how Samus hits your leg.
Yeah.
So if you just land in the shield, you're fine. Which would also be a way of like going more gradually working your way back up.
It also wouldn't be bad because it would have set me up for like, oh, that bear was a fucking controller. Oh my god. Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it would have been a great situation for just like shield drop bear as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because like that's like one of the big ideas behind that. Like one of the reasons why that whole that like sliding scale like idea is
Mm.
like so fundamental is because if you make it your goal right in the spot like I'm gonna spot like the back hair spot. We passed it. Yeah, we're past it.
Yeah, we're past that.
So if you make it your goal, in a spot like this, to take this position, this severe disadvantage position, and just get to, less disadvantage, right? Just work your way gradually up. Like you got it, because if you just do something less committal, right? If you do something more conservative, just something less aggressive, right? That makes more sense given the advantage. Like that landing in the shield, then because you're going just to normal disadvantage, right? Still bad, but not nearly as bad. It makes it much easier to then go to like neutral, right?
Yeah.
As opposed to like if you're trying to go from this spot straight to neutral, you have to either soul read them or get lucky, essentially.
Yeah.
And that's just not a very consistent way of playing.
Yeah, of course not.
It's also something that is going to be able to be called out by players very easily.
Yeah.
Like, if someone likes to, you've like played against players that like to just rip unsafe options, like,
All the
just in
time,
general,
yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Someone loves double, like in the, I don't know, fucking SHEIK Ditto, someone loves double jump fairing on stage from off stage.
Yeah.
That's very easy to call out if you know what's coming. Even if you
Yeah.
don't know what's coming, it's still easy to call out.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that happens. That
Okay,
happens.
so was that like so that's like probably one of the situations where I was talking about like where I have no idea how to deal with missile.
Well,
That
here,
wasn't
the
really a
Samus,
missile thing
yeah,
though.
Samus basically just read you.
Okay.
Samus read you, and you also weren't ready for the bomb right here.
Not at all. No, I missed my tuck and just like yeah.
Yeah, it's just you just got outplayed there. That's all there is.
Yeah.
A lot of the time in melee, I think something that's really important with melee is to understand when when your decision wasn't necessarily bad, you just got outplayed, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because it wasn't like this back area. That's just fine. It could have worked out. It's just that the Samus seems like at least like kind of soft read it and just outplayed. This was
Yeah.
just Samus playing well. This was not you
Okay.
playing bad. This was Samus playing well.
Okay, okay.
And then for ledge dash stuff, definitely try and work on uh alternative ledge dash options.
Yeah. I've been working on ledge dash roll a lot recently. Ledge dash grab as well because it's not like I don't know how to do those. It's just like it's not muscle memory for whatever reason.
Yeah, like grab, roll, dash back.
Oh hey, I did the standing needle thing. Okay. Further back.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay,
Also,
cool.
with your needle stack, right, the standing needle covers more of the screen, right?
Yeah.
It covers more paths. Because there were a whole lot more that were going to cut off more.
Yeah.
Basically, alternative ledge dash options like grab, roll, dash back, crouch, like dash back, dash forward, crouch, short hop, like waveland, full hop. But like I think dash back would be really good, in particular, as a mix up with like ledge dash F tilt.
Wow, okay.
Just can you kind of like see how they complement each other? Or
'Cause I
like
can
if
also
someone is
do
trying to punish the F tilt, then a lot of the time they're going to open themselves up to like whiff punished by your ledge dash back.
I could also it could also set me up for, depending on the angle, it could set me up for a teeter cancel, which would be really good.
And then if someone is pressuring you because they think you're going to ledge dash back, then they're going to be close enough to get F tilted or grabbed or up tilted. Yeah. Yeah, again, the same thing is happening here, right? Where you just have this disadvantage state. It's really bad for you.
I don't recognize him. I just
And yeah, I think that would, in terms of like things to think about while playing the game, I feel like the big thing to think about would just be that whole idea of being aware of advantage and like gradually working up, going from one to the next, working your way up bit by bit and not doing the leapfrogging thing.
okay.
Like when you're in severe disadvantage, like this example, the idea here is to just work your way back, right? Bit
Mm-hmm.
by bit gradually. The idea is not to take the advantage back on one way, on one thing. The idea is to work your way back up bit by bit.
Right.
Build it back up, right?
Okay. Okay.
And then same, like with like when you have advantage, the idea is to, just keep it
Push it
building and
slowly.
building and building, and push it in a way that doesn't overextend.
Right.
Especially because when you do that, it then makes just like something like overshoot boost grab much more powerful.
Yeah. Oh, that fair was bad. I have no idea why I did it.
No, I can see it. This could have worked.
Uh,
Do you see how
I
close it
mean,
was?
yeah, I guess. I should have been expecting down smash, I think. And it's just weird that they didn't do it. Oh, I guess I don't know.
Yeah, you were so close. Also, I think Peach down smashing here, or not Peach, Samus. I think given what I've seen of the Samus, I would not expect them to go for a down smash like that.
Okay.
Um, yeah, because like especially because if they had down smash here, you've just been fine, right?
Mm. Okay.
Because the way you fared them, you're fine here. You're not getting down smashed. You're not getting CC down smashed.
Okay.
I think also just like giving credit to the Samus and understanding that they're seeing the same thing, right? They're
Yeah, of
seeing
course.
they're seeing this too, right?
Yeah.
And they seem more than experienced enough to recognize that there's no shot of CC down smashing you for that.
Okay.
And then like the fair was like just it was so close. I think it's a non-issue. Like look at this.
Yeah. Okay.
That again, this is just like like the idea was solid. Just it was like a different. It was just like a single frame ended up making a difference, but the idea was solid.
Uh,
Nice needle. I think you can hold here. I think you can hold. I'm pretty sure you can hold here. You see how
yeah, I
that
recognize that
yeah.
mid set as well. That I could have just held, but I could panicked.
When you kept the edge guard going though, you can jab this.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Like right here, you
Like
can just
boom,
jab her out.
just right there.
Boom.
Just yeah.
Jab fair.
Jab fair. Yep.
I do. I really like the
No.
way you like tech chase the mistex with your crouch.
Uh, hundreds and hundreds of hours of tech chasing spaces.
Mm-hmm.
I've l- I've learned. Okay, I'm not gonna exaggerate, but like I've become better and better at like playing every single scenario, and it's definitely translated over. Because like I tech chase Mars the exact same way.
Mm-hmm.
I know that they're gonna miss tech. I'm just gonna crouch right in front of them. I'm just gonna grab them. I'm gonna fuck them up for it.
Mm-hmm. You can. This is a part where you can like F tilt or jab these missiles.
I don't think I can jab that unless it's jab
You
two,
can F
because
tilt
it's
it.
kind of low.
You can
I
F
can F
tilt
tilt
it.
it for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
And this missile, you can F tilt too, especially because you're gonna
A
be
double
actual
jump
like
over it instead of
immediately after.
worst case scenario. I can
You
also just narrow it, right?
might be. I mean, you can just F tilt, right?
Okay, okay.
You might be able to crouch under it. I'm not entirely sure. It looks like you could possibly crouch under it. Like if it was a bit higher, like right here, you could definitely crouch under it. But if it's right, this height is gonna depend on like the specific the way the hitbox of missile looks specifically, and the way SHEIK's hurtbox when crouching looks specifically.
Yeah.
But that's also something you can do against missiles, just crouch under them. Like you basically did it right here, right? Because
Yeah.
you're in the little squat animation.
No, yeah, that's
You're
why
in
I
the.
really like. That's why I do detail a lot.
Mm-hmm. And also, like, if you crouch under the missile, right? Like, if you're facing Samus here, or you had dash back out of crouch, this situation becomes a lot different. Because
I,
then you have, basically have most every option on the table. You can, like, fair this, you can nair this, you can whatever this.
I should have dashed back. Yeah, that was kind of bad. It's fine.
And then here again, this might be a shield poke.
It is, I think.
But this is, kind of what it looks like. Yeah, it's a shield poke.
Yeah, it's a shield poke. That's
Yeah,
unfortunate.
I think that's a good
Should've...
call by the Samus. The way they placed that hitbox makes me think they were looking for the shield poke specifically.
Yeah, I should have light shielded it.
Mm-hmm. You can
That's
also
fine.
shield trap in that spot.
Oh yeah, just preemptively catch her out.
Mm-hmm. You can wave dash back in this spot.
Okay.
Yeah, but if you shield trap or wave dash back, then essentially you have a reversal opportunity here. Because, Samus would be right here, and that's a free punish.
Okay.
And again, that's again the same idea of she just being so slippery, where she can find reversals in a lot of situations by just using the speed advantage. Like speed and also essentially a frame data advantage too. Just like an overall frame data advantage over Samus.
Okay. Ah, that was a wave dash for sure. There's no way.
Okay. And then here,
I should have tilted.
you could be playing this more aggressively, I think.
I'm such a fucking like things I should play more or like more patiently. I play too aggressively, and the things I could play.
Well,
Yeah.
not like aggressive, but you could be taking more space away from Samus here.
Yeah, just drifts, just drifting in more.
Mm-hmm. Especially because one of the big things that's happening here is like, you basically for a moment, right? You shut her down, right?
Yeah.
Missile is now off the table. And then because you move away here, instead of holding or moving forward and taking your space you just created, then you let her start missiling again.
Right.
You see how like you just gave her the time and space she needed to missile?
Could just do that, yeah.
Or like, being aggressive in this context wouldn't necessarily mean putting out a hitbox. It would just mean like taking space. And taking that, that missile away from her.
Yeah.
Because especially, like, if you get up close to her, right, and she goes for a missile like this, if she goes for this missile and you're, like, right here, and she goes for the missile, then your F-Tol is just going to scoop through both. Or, it's, but it's going to be, like, if you F-Tilt in that spot, or you put out, like, a lingering hitbox, it's bad for her, right?
Yeah. That's fine.
Yeah. Yeah, your double jumps are an issue, too.
I'm fully aware of it. I am so aware of it. I know. I've been aware of it for months, and I just don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, well, that's the first step. It would also be a good way to start with that whole idea of advantage. Because that's a very real situation where that idea is really in play. And also something that clearly, comes up quite a bit. And something also that you know about already.
Yeah.
So just like take the idea of gradually working your way back up, gradually regain advantage and apply it to this double jump situation.
Okay.
Because like especially like in a recovery context, that's just like true disadvantage, right? Your options are inherently limited.
Yeah.
And here, you made a gamble. You made an aggressive gamble that just wasn't really feasible with this, with the game state, right?
Yeah, 109.
Where if you had been more conservative, if you're more conservative here, and you don't jump here, you just fall past the missile. Do you see how you'd have just a free angle to ledge?
Yeah.
Where that idea of being conservative and being aware of how much advantage you actually have and how that affects how aggressively you should play situations is very real.
Hmm. Okay. All right. Oh, it's been 2 hours and 20 minutes.
Yeah.
uh, wow, I haven't discussed Melee like this in a long time, and I missed it.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Uh,
I I really enjoy doing stuff like this, like coaching, just talking about the game.
yeah, it's really fun.
Mm.
Okay. Well,
Um. Yeah, but
let
there
me think.
are. So I'm going. So, but yeah, just while you think, I'm just gonna go through and kind of like bold some stuff.
Okay.
Bold some stuff. Also work on finding those videos.
Let me. All right. Yeah, I think I'm happy with what we did. There was went through a lot.
Hmm.
Um.
This is. I think that section I just bolded is the big takeaway. That seemed like the basically the core fundamental issue in a lot of those spots.
Yeah, and I'm sure it's not only in this matchup.
Hmm. Oh
It's
yeah,
just
absolutely. Because that's
probably
just a fighting. That's a not even a fighting game fundamental. That's just like a
sports
like
fundamental.
yeah, yeah, just like a game fundamental.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, I really suck at determining uh advantage and disadvantage and like how much of it I have.
Hmm. Yeah, I think
Or
especially because this is also a thing where it's going to vary situation by situation, right? Especially just if you think of what options are on the table in the first place.
yeah.
So approaching it from a context of just taking it one situation at a time and deconstructing one situation at a time and looking at what top sheiks do in one situation at a time. Like, for example, starting with those offstage recovery spots where you're double jumping. Would
Mm.
I think be, just in general, the best way to approach just about anything? Just in general, as a general rule, is the best way to approach something like that. And then also, it's going to be very directly applicable because you can like look at the exact spots where you're double jumping from off stage and then compare it to like just think about that spot, think about what you have on the table, and then look at top sheiks in that exact same spot where you double jumped and look at what they do instead and think about why they did what they did.
Mm.
Where that's just like the core cycle at the heart of games is taking one situation at a time and going situation by situation.
Right.
Especially because like that last part where you're looking for replacement things to do is very important, just as like a human nature perspective, like psychology
Yeah, of
perspective,
course.
because it's so much easier to stop doing a bad habit if you have something to replace it with.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Um, all right. Look,
So I'm gonna Fudo.
all right. Well, it's all right with you. I'd like to call it there. I am
Oh yeah,
my
for
my
sure.
brain is totally fried. Okay.
Yeah,
Uh,
it's a lot to take in.
it's been a while. Okay, so message me your